Forward a year and a half, Unrivaled starts up. No Caitlin Clark and TV ratings in the toilet. TNT's pissed. They wasted all that money on this gimmick league, and the TV ratings aren't even worth what they paid. But TNT will be damned if they miss out on the Caitlin Clark gravy.
The TV network just learned an expensive lesson. TNT Sports invested heavily in Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 women's basketball league, with one big goal: sign Caitlin Clark. They poured in money, set aside prime TV time, and planned their entire broadcast around her. But Clark turned the offer down. Now TNT is left watching that investment struggle, while the same player they hope to feature is about to bring them huge ratings anyway, just not through the league they backed. It's a story about a risky bet on a new league that ended up costing a network millions, leaving a player hurt, and raising questions about the financial stability of women's basketball.
English language broadcast rights to the world-class FIBA men's and women's tournaments in a multi-year deal. Coverage tips off next week with the 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup Qualifying Tournament across TNT, True TV, and HBO Max, including the senior national competitive debuts of Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, and Angel Reese, alongside 2024 Olympic gold medalist Ka Copper.
Here's what TNT Sports just revealed. The network has secured exclusive U.S. broadcast rights to the international tournaments run by FIBA for both men's and women's basketball through a multi-year deal. Coverage begins March 5th with a qualifying tournament for the 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup. The player lineup is the real highlight. Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Eric Ogunbowale, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, and Angel Reese are all set to make their senior national team debuts. 5 games will air across TNT, True TV, and Max between March 5th and March 17th. This isn't just another tournament. After missing out with Unrivaled, TNT is taking a new shot with United States women's national basketball team. And this time, Caitlin Clark will actually be on the court.
Is the schedule below? Next Wednesday, a week from yesterday, you have USA versus Senegal, 4:45 on True TV, HBO Max. The next day after that, you got Puerto Rico, USA. A few days after that, USA, Italy, Sunday, March 15th, New Zealand versus USA. Tuesday, March 17th, Spain versus USA on TNT. So the first 4 games are going to be on True TV and HBO Max, with the final game of their qualifying being
on March 5th. The U.S. faces Senegal women's national basketball team at 4:45 p.m. Eastern, airing on True TV and Max. March 6th features Puerto Rico women's national basketball team against United States women's national basketball team on the same platforms. On March 9th, the U.S. plays the Italy women's national basketball team. March 15th brings a matchup with the New Zealand women's national basketball team. The final game is set for March 17th, when the U.S. takes on the Spain women's national basketball team, and that one will air on TNT. The first 4 games will only appear on True TV and Max, while the final gets the main TNT spotlight. This approach lets the network see whether stars like Caitlin Clark can attract strong viewership for international basketball. If the early numbers are solid, the Spain game becomes a major showcase. If not, the earlier games remain mostly a streaming trial.
Big news, and this rating is going to demolish, trounce, decimate, destroy Unrivaled. Unrivaled had the small second of being the biggest women's basketball program on TNT. That lasted all but a year and a half. Now they got the big dog. Now they got the big money. Now they got something that people actually pay attention to. Because Unrivaled is the little niche of WNBA small fans. FIBA isn't just going to be Caitlin Clark supporters, not going to be WNBA supporters. Caitlin Clark, unlike the WNBA, is global.
Now the situation becomes awkward for TNT Sports. The upcoming FIBA qualifiers are expected to pull far bigger audiences than Unrivaled. For a short time, Unrivaled had the stage as the only women's basketball content on TNT's platforms. That advantage is now gone. The new broadcasts feature United States women's national basketball team and stars like Caitlin Clark, the same player many hoped would appear in Unrivaled but never did. Because of that, Every rating Unrivaled posts will likely be measured against the audience for these international games. The difference could be large. Unrivaled mainly appeals to dedicated WNBA followers, while Team USA games attract viewers around the world. Fans across Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, and the Americas often watch international tournaments, giving the FIBA events a much broader reach. That level of global attention is difficult for a small new league to match, and TNT is well aware of it.
To have to open the venue up. This is the roster for 2026 USA Women's World Cup qualifying team. Monique Billings, Paige Beckers, Ray Burrell, Caitlin Clark, Ka Copper, Chelsea Gray, Dearica Hamby, Ryan Howard, Kiki Iriefin, Kelsey Plum, Angel, oh my angel, you're my darling, Angel Reese, and Jackie Young. And a question many people have right now is, where is Aliyah Boston? We get Caitlin Clark, who's back. We don't even have the sidekick. We don't have the Robin to her Batman. Where's Aliyah Boston at?
Now look at who's missing from the lineup. Aliyah Boston, the starting center for the Indiana Fever and the 2023 #1 draft pick in the WNBA, was expected to play alongside Caitlin Clark for United States women's national basketball team. But she won't be there. Boston has withdrawn from the qualifiers after suffering a right lower leg injury while playing in Unrivaled. She has returned to Indianapolis for further medical evaluation. So far, the details are limited. Right lower extremity injury is a broad term that could mean a problem with her foot, ankle, or knee. The Indiana Fever haven't shared more information yet, and that uncertainty matters. The exact injury will determine how long recovery might take and whether she will be ready when the WNBA season begins in May.
Aliyah Boston will no longer compete in the World Cup qualifiers after her right lower extremity injury in Unrivaled. Fever PR, Aliyah Boston will return to Indianapolis for further evaluation. Additional updates will be provided as they become available. Aliyah Boston got injured in Unrivaled. Reason number 762 why Unrivaled is a waste of everybody's time. Reason number 1462 of why Unrivaled is a gimmick basketball league. Unrivaled cost Aliyah Boston's opportunity to take part in these qualifiers. Now here's the kicker. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. If there's a lockout, if there's a strike, does Aliyah Boston...
This injury matters for more than just missing the 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup Qualifiers. Aliyah Boston was hurt while playing in Unrivaled, an off-season league created partly because many WNBA players say their regular salaries are not high enough. The idea behind the league is simple. Players compete in a 3-on-3 format in Miami during the off-season, earn extra money, and stay in shape. On the surface, that sounds reasonable. But the off-season is usually when professional athletes rest, recover, and prepare for the next season. In this case, Boston was injured in February, outside the normal schedule. It didn't happen during the WNBA season with the Indiana Fever medical staff watching closely, and it didn't happen during organized team training. Instead, the injury occurred while playing in an off-season event, at a time when many players would normally be focusing on recovery after a long WNBA season and playoff run.
Or does she now need to go find her own means of rehabbing, her own means of getting healthy again? Players need to think about that possibility as well. Unrivaled's all fine and dandy until you realize all the actual expenses that your organization covers for you. As far as health, nutrition, rehab, medical, so on and so forth. Jar Jar Binks, shout out to you, Jar Jar, putting pressure on the Indiana Fever. Can we get an accurate injury report instead of the lower body injury and day-to-day bull crap? Well, you know, the Indiana Fever, they're very close to the vest with reporting injuries. We didn't even know what was wrong with Caitlin Clark until a month into her injury. Will someone be picked to take Boston?
There's also a bigger issue that few people are discussing. The Women's National Basketball Players Association is currently in a labor dispute with the WNBA. The union chose to opt out of the existing collective bargaining agreement in 2024, which means a strike or lockout could happen before the next season begins. If that happens, It raises an important question for players like Aliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever. Would she still be able to rely on the team's doctors and medical staff while recovering from her injury? Normally, a team handles almost everything for its players: medical care, rehab, training facilities, nutrition, and recovery equipment. But during a work stoppage, players may not have the same access because they're no longer actively working under team contracts. That creates a difficult situation. Boston's injury happened while playing in Unrivaled, which is separate from the WNBA. If labor talks break down and the season is delayed, it becomes unclear who would cover the cost of her treatment and recovery.
Unrivaled doesn't care about their players. Players have to literally pray they still are in a WNBA team to receive treatment. That league is fake and not what players think. They blinded the old heads with money, but essentially ended their career and put the youth in harm's way. Is women's hoops turning into hockey? What the F is a lower extremity injury? Foot, toe, ankle? We just supposed to guess, huh? One more reason to dislike that league. Thank God Caitlyn avoids it. Hopefully AB, Kelsey, Lexi, Ari, and KK opt out next year too. This is a good point right here. This will directly impact her next contract, especially since female bigs take longer to heal or don't completely heal 100% due to size, weight they carry on their frame. Don't be surprised if a one-year prove-it contract is offered. I don't think a one-year prove-it contract, I'm not sure if it's actually going to impact her contract, but as far as her recovery, as far as her ability moving forward, depending on how serious this injury, this gentleman is absolutely right. It could take a lot longer for AB to actually get back to herself. Why don't the Fever pull her back to do evaluation? Why letting her sit around traveling with Unrivaled when she can't even participate? Players and teams seem to not care about their own self. Now, if she was paid the $1 million max, will you let her play in another league and possibly get injured? Won't teams want to protect their investments? Absolutely. Absolutely. We haven't heard anything about exclusivity, but if I'm paying you $1 million, your ass better not be playing in no bullshit league, especially a 3v3 gimmick basketball league. 2 strikes in a row for Unrivaled. Strike 1, here comes TNT Sports getting the big dog. Your ratings are about to look even more minuscule than they already are. They're about to look even more pedestrian than they already are. Strike number 2, Aliyah Boston's now injured. Aliyah Boston's missing that opportunity. And with a lockout or a strike looming, where are her avenues as far as getting medically back to herself at? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video and subscribe.
Step back for a moment, and the bigger picture becomes clear. The situation highlights the financial challenges surrounding women's basketball. Unrivaled was introduced as a new opportunity. Players could earn extra money in the offseason, stay competitive, and grow their personal brands. In theory, everyone benefits, but the model depends on one key factor: revenue. And revenue depends on strong viewership. That's why TNT Sports wanted Caitlin Clark involved from the start. The network understood that star power drives ratings. Without a major name like Clark, the league risks appealing mostly to dedicated WNBA followers rather than a wider audience. So far, the viewership numbers for Unrivaled have been modest, steady, but not large enough to match the expectations tied to the network's investment. Now TNT is trying a different approach. By broadcasting games featuring the United States women's national basketball team in FIBA competition, the network gets Clark on the screen without building an entire league around her. It's a short tournament instead of a long season. If the ratings are strong, TNT benefits. If not, the commitment is limited. This shift creates an awkward situation. Unrivaled games are still airing on TNT's platforms because of existing agreements. At the same time, the network is promoting international games that may attract far more viewers. In effect, the comparison could highlight the gap between the two. Injuries add another layer to the issue. Aliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever is one example, but she hasn't been the only player dealing with physical setbacks. The league's tight schedule and high-intensity 3-on-3 format leave little time for recovery. For athletes who finished a full WNBA season only a few months earlier, that strain can be difficult. The goal was to help players stay active and earn additional income during the offseason. But if injuries begin to affect their main careers, teams like The Indiana Fever built a large part of their roster around Aliyah Boston. She was the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, and the team's defense depends heavily on her presence in the paint. Now she's dealing with an injury that happened while playing in Unrivaled, a league the Fever do not control. From a team's perspective, that creates frustration. The franchise pays her salary and plans its system around her, yet the injury occurred in an outside competition. Situations like this could push team owners to reconsider how they handle off-season leagues when the next collective bargaining agreement is negotiated. Looking ahead, the next major moment arrives when the FIBA qualifiers begin on March 5th. The opening game features the United States women's national basketball team against the Senegal women's national basketball team. That broadcast will set the tone for the rest of the event. If strong viewership follows, especially with Caitlin Clark playing, **TNT Sports** will likely push heavy promotion for the remaining matchups, building toward the March 17th game against the Spain women's national basketball team. If the numbers fall short, the network may face questions about its new multi-year deal with FIBA. Clark is expected to bring viewers, but international tournaments do not always have the same rivalries and storylines that drive interest in regular WNBA matchups. Even so, TNT will likely frame the coverage as a positive step, especially as it balances that partnership with its ongoing broadcasts of Unrivaled. TNT Sports will put top-notch production behind the FIBA qualifiers and highlight whatever ratings they get as proof their gamble worked. Meanwhile, Unrivaled is in a tough spot. They can't match Team USA for viewers. They couldn't deliver the star they promised, and injuries are raising serious questions about whether the league is safe or worth the risk for players. Without Caitlin Clark, their long-term future looks uncertain. The bottom line, TNT bet big on Unrivaled, and it didn't pay off. Now, they're hoping FIBA and Clark can turn things around. Aliyah Boston is injured and may miss part of the WNBA season. Off-season women's basketball leagues are facing fresh scrutiny about players' safety and financial viability. March 5th will reveal a lot. Whether international basketball can draw audiences or if TNT has made another costly misstep. Are you planning to watch the FIBA qualifiers? Or do you think international games without WNBA storylines are a harder sell? Should future collective bargaining agreements limit off-season league participation to protect players? Share your thoughts. Hit like if this breakdown helped, and subscribe for full coverage as the story unfolds.